Humans, what is up? Hey, have you ever had something on your bucket list that just kind of sat there for years at a time, and then one day something happens and you're able to cross it off the list? You go to that place, you see that thing, you do that thing, and it is amazing. Well, that happened for us, and we want to tell you about it. It's a really enjoyable conversation that you're going to love. So let's get started.
This is a production of Pioneer Dream, celebrating 30 years of moving stories for corporate, nonprofit, and entertainment partners. Please help us keep the conversation going by rating, liking, and subscribing to this podcast. Thank you. Also, make sure to check out our other podcast, Mixed Up Mystics, featuring refreshingly honest conversations about Christianity, and Got a Minute Mini Podcast, presenting funny stories and independent music, all in about 15 minutes. Now, here's Jay and Anjanette Webster.
Thank you, Evangeline and humans. What is up? We are back. Hello, Anjanette.
Hello, humans.
Welcome back to the Center of the Known Universe, the studio at Pioneer Dream, and to the Hope for Humans podcast.
Yes.
I want you to know that a peculiar thing is happening.
You want me to know, or you want everyone to know?
I want all within the sound of my podcast voice to know.
Oh, tell us.
I think this is our 50th episode.
That is impossible.
So if you're thinking to yourselves, well, I haven't listened to all 50 of those, we'll go back. Find them. There's some good stuff in here.
Before you announce that it's our 50th,
I'm pretty sure.
Go
pretty
back
sure
and
it's our 50th anniversary.
count them up?
50th episode. And then
cool.
the service.
Episode-iversary.
Oh, thank you very much.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes the service that we subscribe to that helps kind of get our podcast to all the places it needs to be.
Yes.
It will send you things like, oh, congratulations, you just had your 20,000th listener.
From Barcelona.
From Barcelona.
1,000?
Yes.
Okay.
And speaking of all that,
Yes.
Barcelona, before we get into it, let me give you these quick updated announcements.
Okay.
Very quickly, if you're listening to this, as many of you do, it's funny because we're able to track how the podcast is listened to and all that stuff. And a lot of you download and listen to the episode like right away. Like you get I guess you get a notification or something,
Okay.
or it just automatically downloads for you. So
And they just can't wait
Some of you will get this
immediately.
in this very day because we try to keep it fresh.
Keep
we
it fresh.
release it on the day we record it.
Nice.
And so that will give you time to make your plans and adjustments and call your friends and family and let them know that this Friday night you will be in person at Dreamers Live on June 19th at the Pioneer Dream Loft in the beautiful downtown Bartlesville, Oklahoma area.
Yes.
And this is our last Dreamers Live before the summer break, so it makes it even more impressive.
Yeah, we're looking forward to it. We'll be here at the Pioneer Dream Loft, which is nice, and the AC is kicking, if you know what I mean.
man.
We like to do outdoors sometimes, but when it gets hot, we're on the indoors.
Yeah.
And we're looking forward to having cool
We're not
summer
heroes.
dreams.
We like
What?
the AC. We're not
yeah.
heroes. We like the
No,
AC.
yeah, definitely. We'll have a special summertime punch that I'm working on right now. It should be
Right.
quite festive, and we'll have cool and refreshing treats and drinks, great conversation, a lot of fun people, and some new people that are actually going to be in town for this weekend, so it should be fun. And then what are we doing right after?
Well, the weather is perfect, and so right after Dreamers, which is 5 to 7, we'll be walking down, driving down, getting down to Unity Square, where they're having the Juneteenth celebration.
Yes.
They have the full Flava Kings.
It's a great band.
They
They're
have,
so fun.
Oh my gosh, yeah. And they have food trucks and they have beverage trucks and they have all this kind of stuff. And the weather looks like it's going to be perfect. So bring your lawn chairs with you.
Yes.
And we'll all go down and get down at Unity
it's
Square.
super cool because we've gone to the Juneteenth celebration locally the last probably 2 or 3 years.
Always amazing.
It is, but it's always been at the Westside Community Center, which is now called the Westside Cultural Center. But this time they're doing it as a full community event out in Unity Square. So we want to go support that.
And we love it because it's kind of their effort to make this more of a community event, not just a cultural event on one side of the town or for one select segment of our population. So now the whole city gets to recognize the beauty of this day and celebrate it.
It's going to be awesome.
Really
so
cool.
they have several food vendors. I wanted to ask you live on the air. There's several food vendors, but there's a barbecue place that I know that's going to be there. It's a father and son team.
Yes.
And they have slabs of ribs, and I thought maybe I could get you that for Father's Day.
Well, it's funny because you know the way I love the meats.
You do love meats.
But I think our daughter is like a carnivore plus 10.
She
like if
loves
you
it.
put slab of ribs in front of her,
Yeah.
you will make her life, and she'll get on.
Well, now I know what to bless you with.
Yes. Bless
this
me,
Sunday.
Lord. Bless me.
Yes. Okay.
Also, you know that we have a sister podcast, which we call the Mixed Up Mystics, and that podcast has a new Facebook page. So if you go to Facebook's and you just search Mixed Up Mystics, I think there's a hyphen between mixed and up.
Okay.
Mixed Up Mystics. You'll see our little Facebook page there, and it's a great way to stay on top of the podcast we're doing and get little extra things. And we're getting ready to do our semi-regular installment of Ask a Reverend. So if you have a question that you want to ask the Reverend, Jason Elmore, Friday Night Church, then you can put that on the post, and when we get to that here in a couple weeks, we will ask a Reverend your question.
Yeah, and for those of you who don't know, at Hope for Humans, we talk about a little bit more broad topics
that broad general audience.
that appeal to everyone. And then on Mixed Up Mystics, we look has a little bit more of a spiritual slant, and we talk about some things. We're trapped up here in the Bible Belt, to be honest, and so we gotta talk about these things.
We talked about the bedazzled belt buckle of the Bible Belt as recovering. We weren't ever really fundamentalists, but we're recovering from growing up in the 90s in the church, and so
everybody is.
So we have some very honest, hopeful, and encouraging conversations.
Yeah, I think you guys would like it. You know what's funny about the 90s? Okay, our daughter says on the regular, she says, "Oh man, the 90s seems so cool. I just love the 90s," and she loves music from the 90s. The fashions are back in, and I will say to her, you know that is when your dad and I came of age. That's our era,
give
the
us
90s.
Some credit. Yeah.
Yeah. And she's like, oh, well, whatever.
Not you guys.
Not you guys. The rest of the 90s was cool.
Hey, speaking of all things dreamers, if you're not already on it, message us with your email address and be a part of the Dreamery. That's our newsletter. Comes out. It's a digital newsletter. Comes out once a month. There's no spam involved. It's a short read, but it has lots of little bonus things in it. It's got little bonus writings. It's got free music. It's got stuff about the podcast. It's got stuff about the Dreamers Live events and everything that we are involved in, all things Dreamers. So it's a great, funny little newsletter, and you should absolutely subscribe. You can get out of it at any time if you somehow hate it. And if you're already subscribing, I bet you could probably imagine someone that would really love the Dreamery that's not on it now. So just message us their email address, and we'll sign them up. And again, if they don't like it, they can just unsubscribe.
Yes, we think you'll find it pleasantly entertaining.
Meanwhile, back at the podcast.
Yes.
We have, as you know, friends, been gone. We've been out, and you guys were really kind to babysit our other podcast, Got a Minute Mini Podcast. And that was a lot of fun. And so thank you for listening to that. And so it's a joy for us to be back. The reason why we were away, as you probably know, is we were traveling.
We were traveling.
We were living actually somebody else's life. This is not something we do, but all the stars aligned. You had a bucket list item. That you've had since you're kind of actually our daughter's age, about 14.
Yeah.
What was your bucket list item for travel?
The one place in the world, if I had to choose one, that I wanted to see was the country of Spain.
España?
Yes, España. I've always been fascinated by it. Actually, from the time I was 5 years old, my brother reminded me.
Yeah.
And I love the culture, the music. I just thought, these are my people.
So we couldn't afford to go there. Instead, we...
Which is why we're just now going. We saved up. We actually started saving up during COVID.
Right. We were supposed to try and go around COVID, and then obviously everything changed during COVID, and then wars broke out, and other things happened, and
life goes on. And before you realize it, you're never going to go unless you go.
Our daughter's plans for the summer changed.
Yeah.
She's normally involved in a giant musical during the summer and has rehearsals and all that stuff. She decided she wanted to do something different this year. So we actually had the time window.
We did.
We gathered up all of our nickels and we made a plan, and we went to Spain, which is where we were when we were not here with you guys.
Yeah, it was incredible.
Yeah, it really, really was.
It did not disappoint.
So here's what I want to talk about today. I'll give some kind of general impressions of being in España.
Yes.
But then I want to talk about lessons learned while in Spain.
Yeah, it was pretty interesting.
Lessons from Spain.
You know how it is for those of you who get to travel some. When you get back into town, you get hit in the face with all the things that you had to leave, and there's a lot of catch up. But I feel like things are finally settling back into kind of a normal pace. And I tell you, every time I think about the trip or see a picture or someone asks what we were doing, I smile.
Yes,
it was just super neat.
Well, I think other things occur to you, like it's so busy and so dense, and then as the the web and social media work.
Yeah.
Because we were doing so much research ahead of time and booking tours and booking train trips and all that stuff within Spain. The web gets wise to that, and so they start flooding all of your media with oh, hey, by the way, had you thought about this, that,
exactly.
So you can't escape it, which is really nice for us because we say, oh, we were just there.
That's right.
And you remember impressions and things, and sometimes when you go on a trip, it's so saturated that stuff you did in the first 24 or 48 hours, by the time you leave, you're like, did we even do that?
Yeah.
That's amazing because so much has transpired in the trip since then.
Yeah, exactly.
So here's kind of what happened and some of our general impressions, and you can weigh in on all this stuff. But basically our trip was, we left here, we went to Barcelona, which is kind of in the northeast corner of Spain.
Which is huge, by the way. Yeah, Spain is a huge country.
And we were there for 2 or 3 days, 3 or 4 days, something like that. And then we went to a little coastal town.
But you're supposed to say it like Barcelona.
That's how you know you were
there.
It's
the Castilian Spanish.
And then correct people when they say it
right. It's
wrong.
Barcelona.
Oh, I'm sorry. You mean Barcelona.
It's hard to do.
Barcelona? No. I'm sorry. Okay. I thought you were saying Barcelona.
Right.
And then we went from there to a little coastal town on the Mediterranean Sea, which is called Valencia. We had a great time there. And then we went over to Madrid, which is kind of in the central part of the country.
Yes, and Madrid is the city that I wrote my 8th grade research paper about.
Yes.
That captured my imagination.
And so now it's captured your heart.
It has.
Yeah.
It was so cool.
Yes.
And I know we didn't even get to scratch the surface because we had, total of 4 days there. But no, it was so neat. I'm proud. I'm proud that we went.
Well, okay, so secrets for everybody. On our trip, here are some things that we did that kind of made it interesting. One, we chose to not overschedule ourselves. So there were a couple of other cities that we were really interested in seeing.
Sure.
But it meant only being in Barcelona for like 2 days and Madrid for only like 2 days.
Yeah.
And we really wanted, to the best of our ability, to try and get a feel for what it was like to be in those cities. So we opted
I think that takes
to
3
do
days.
fewer cities and more time in each city to try and get the feel of it. And we've tried both philosophies in travel, and they're both great, but in this case, that was our plan.
Definitely.
And then we also decided, and I think this really, really worked out well for us, we decided to pack less instead of more.
Yes.
And we took, each of us took like a little backpack, and each of us took a roll-on, carry-on suitcase.
Which is
so we didn't check any.
Good amount
we
of
didn't
stuff.
check any suitcases. We didn't check any luggage. There was no chance that someone was going to lose any of our stuff because it was always with us.
Yeah.
And then because we were going from Barcelona to Valencia, and Valencia to Madrid, and Madrid to Toledo, and all at Toledo. It made it easy for us because all you had to do is just roll your suitcase and put it in the thing and then go.
Yeah,
and so,
small suitcase. And you can wedge a lot of stuff in there if you do the what's the name of the lady that everybody she wrote that book about it's gonna come to me, where you roll all of your stuff.
She's actually the one that I think first gave us the term shine. So
really?
She talked about
sparking joy. She said sparking joy.
Maybe that's what it was. So like she talked about it in terms of organizing. So there was organizing your luggage, but then there was also organizing your stuff at home. And when you go through your drawers, if you see a clothing item that doesn't spark joy,
right,
then maybe go ahead and get rid of it.
Or that has other emotions attached to it.
We called that shine, but right.
I'm going to think of her name and I'm going to yell it out when I get it. Go ahead. But anyway, yes, so we packed light, which was great.
So here are some just basic observations we made about the country.
Marie Kondo.
Oh my gosh.
There you go.
Thanks, everybody. Thanks for staying along with us on
that.
You got
a Marie Kondo.
And so basic observations and broad generalities about being
Spanish
in Spain
culture.
and all that kind of stuff. One, very friendly, very kind. Everyone that found out that we were from Estados Unidos loved it.
Well, we were a little worried about that, especially with the state of the world right now.
We'd heard about things, and and a number of people had said, "Hey, make sure you don't wear anything that broadcasts or suggests that you're from the U.S." Let me just tell you, everybody over there is wearing stuff from the U.S. Bulls stuff and New York Yankee stuff, and all your favorite American bands. So everybody's wearing.
But we were a little afraid to say, sheepish about
because you don't know
United
how it's
States. Then you would be like, sorry.
And so it had been But no, everybody was lovely.
Yeah.
They speak a lot of English there, especially in Barcelona.
Yes, and in the service, especially if you're in a place where it's a tourist place or restaurants. I mean, we had some Spanish, but not as much as we thought we did.
I can't speak for the whole country. I can tell you that every place that we went, the 4 cities that we visited, every one of them was incredibly clean.
Yeah.
Incredibly clean. Like just daily. When we were in Barcelona, the last day we were there, my routine was I get up a little bit earlier than everybody else. So I would go downstairs and in Barcelona, there was if you go out of the hotel, around the corner was a little coffee shop. You could get café con leche to go.
So good.
And it's, stronger coffee with some milk and stuff. And they mean it when they say with the milk.
Yes. And also that coffee will kick your butt.
Yeah.
It's
and they're
good.
small. I mean, because they're so concentrated and real.
Yeah. It was awesome.
And so I would go out and get that. And every time I would go out of the hotel, there would be a street sweeper going up and down, and they would go up on the sidewalks and they would clean the sidewalks.
Yeah, I didn't see any litter.
There was every place was super, super clean. The subways, taxi cabs, trams,
I could not
buses,
believe how clean
everything.
their public transportation
You could
was.
eat off the seats. I wouldn't do it, but you could eat off the seats.
we love Chicago, but
oh my gosh,
man, the L is gross.
When you come back from the L,
you
think, I'm just going to burn these shoes.
I'll burn these shoes.
These shoes are dead to me. I'm going to take these as disposable shoes when I go
remember
to the L.
when we had our suitcases, we were in one of the subway stations, and I think it was in Barcelona, and Evangelist said, we're going to take the elevator. And I said, yeah, it looks clean, because we had our suitcases with us, but in Chicago, you don't.
They all smell like urine.
Yeah.
And there might be 2 or 3 people living in there. You never know. It's just a whole thing.
I hate to trash Chicago because it's amazing. But anyway, they were super, super clean in Spain. Yeah.
So that is one observation. Also, for the size of the cities, and they're major cities, big populations, incredibly quiet.
Yes.
Incredibly quiet. I mean, our city, which is relatively small, is much louder than even the ambulance. When the ambulance would come through and the lights would kind of shine through and come in, you'd go, excuse me.
Yeah.
And it wasn't blaring.
It was
God help the people who were in the emergency. I'm assuming they're okay.
I know, right? Because you said
it didn't seem as urgent for them.
If an ambulance is coming for you, you want to be
I'm
like,
having
get
a
out
heart
of the way.
attack, but I'm fine. Don't rush.
Fine. Yeah, I thought it was so interesting. In America, this isn't. We love our country.
Oh yeah,
we're proud of it. But we always have music blaring.
TVs blaring
outside, TVs, everything. They're just that was not there.
There are plenty of screens, but much fewer screens than we were
and they
used
usually would just have soccer or football, as they say, on them, if anything. But yeah, it was just
most
quiet,
of the restaurants
peaceful.
that we went to were small. They're just on every block. There might be like 4 or 5 restaurants, but they might seat
little bistros.
They might seat 10 tables, 20 tables. I mean, very small. We did not find mega restaurants with all that kind of stuff.
They did have a Burger King in Barcelona.
They did have a Burger King.
In Barcelona.
They had, I don't think they had Chick-fil-A. They had something else like that. But it was funny.
No, but everything, and a lot of them seem family owned, but nice. And I mean, my impression of Barcelona, it was so stylish.
Oh,
I mean, the city was beautiful. The architecture, it was a little tricky when you would cross the street because I think speaking of the environment, environmentally speaking, they are ahead of our country, obviously.
Right.
But they also, public transportation.
I didn't find a plastic bottle the entire time we were there.
And I didn't
Everything was all the water bottles were glass.
There are cars, but the people who own cars have really nice cars.
Oh my gosh, I didn't see
electric cars.
Every car seemed new. I don't know what that was,
but if you're crossing the street, you had to wait for the tram to go by. Then there was a pedestrian /bike/scooter thing. I mean, you had to really be paying attention.
In Barcelona, especially, you think of it almost like 4 lanes, not all equal width, but 4 lanes. And the first one would be like a bike lane. Yeah. And then there's scooters. And then there was there were tons and tons of motorcycles and scooters, like Vespa scooters. Then there would be a tram line. Then there would be a car line. And you had to get used to looking for certain crossing lights.
Yes.
Because there was a pedestrian light, and then there was a car light, and then there was and a couple of times just normal citizens would put an arm out in front of us because
you'd step out and the scooter was on the way. It was rough, but anyway.
But once you get used to it, then you're like, oh, okay, this is great. Yeah.
But in general, the city was, the architecture is unbelievable because it was it was Roman occupied, a Roman created, right?
Yeah, I think so.
I'm trying to get my history right there. We saw so many things, and so there were these just like Greco-Roman incredible buildings and fountains and castles.
Definitely feels old. Yeah. I mean, the country feels old, but then, in both Barcelona and in Madrid, all the housing was new. The apartment complex, were new-ish.
Yes, at least where we were.
But it was like a Disney set.
Yeah.
Everywhere you look was like a Disney set.
Yes, the apartment buildings were not super tall. They were maybe 4 or 5 stories. The streets are narrower, and they had little balconies and flowers.
Right.
And, apartment dwellers, I think for the most part. Now, obviously, we did not see the whole city. We were in a certain area of it. But, yeah, it was incredible. And then we had the good fortune to see something that we'd only had seen on television. On, Sunday morning, we went to the Sagrada Familia, which was the incredible cathedral. It's the tallest cathedral.
Biggest one in the world.
Yes, in the world. And, you see stuff like that. And everyone's like, you really have to see it. You're like, okay, yeah, we'll
Close
go see
to
it.
150 years of history there.
That was truly unbelievable. It's got to be one of the coolest things in the world.
Yeah.
I mean, what was your impression of that place?
For its size and the fact that it was, literally thousands of people there to see it and to tour it and to take pictures and all that kind of stuff. It was also very moving and very sincere.
It was.
And just, wow, just so much. And you could do a whole podcast just on that building.
Yeah. But
It was
long story
amazing.
short, there was a very famous architect called Antoni Gaudi, depending on how you pronounce it, who is from Barcelona. And he had sort of this vision to create this most amazing church in the world, basically. And he knew that it would be a project that would be in his lifetime.
Right.
And that he actually created it in such a way, knowing that it would go beyond him and that other architects would put their stamp on it. So it's been being built in stages, and they're still actually working on it.
Yeah.
But the humility of him as a lot of times architects and sometimes creative people can be egotists.
Yeah.
And there was nothing like that.
No,
In fact,
it was really moving.
it was very moving to see. That was like his life's calling. He did other projects. And then he basically said, as an architect, he said, form is important and function is important. He said, but if you don't have love, it doesn't matter.
Right.
And so anyway, that was pretty amazing.
Yeah,
So,
you could really feel that in all the choices and decisions that were made with the architecture.
It was really sweet. So after we had worn out Barcelona.
Yeah. So we did. I just in general things, because I want to talk about your impressions and things that you walked away with. I don't want this to turn into the slideshow.
Well, that's the thing. I'm like, we got to.
Yeah.
Right.
So yes, there were. We didn't go in, but there were bullfighting arenas in Madrid. I think it's outlawed in Barcelona, but but they had some of that there. That was on TV as like a national sport as well in Madrid.
Madrid was like New York City. It was huge,
but clean, and nice and
stylish.
And we went to 1,000 different places within the city, and it seemed like every time we got off the subway, you stepped up and out into a different plaza, a different huge city square
with huge arches. And I mean, it would be tough because we like to see everything, and you look to the right, and you were like, we don't have time to see that. I'm like,
Okay, so last couple of things.
Okay.
Also, the cities, all of Spain, as far as we were.
4 cities.
Came into contact with was incredibly affordable. Like a beer, not that I had one, was $3 or $4. Compared to anywhere from $9 to $12 here in the States.
Yeah.
Wine was in the same range. They did a lot of sangria. They did a lot of mojitos.
Yeah.
They did a lot of sweet vermouth, which is a funny thing. And then it's like their national food was jamón, which is like ham, but at like
prosciutto,
like a thin
nice
slice. And in fact, everywhere you go, they would have these little sandwiches. I think they call them bukinis. And it's like imagine like a mini French loaf, cut in half, and with bruschetta in the middle, and nothing else.
Yeah.
No
prosciutto.
lettuce and tomato, no mustard, no.
Yes. And at the risk of hurting anyone's feelings, because I try to be culturally accepting, I said, ¿tienes crema? Meaning, do you have any like mayonnaise or any sauce? And they would just look at you, and then they would hand you some olive oil, which was great.
Which is everywhere. Yeah. Salmon is everywhere.
Yeah.
Seafood is everywhere. Someone accidentally tried to serve us some octopus at one point.
Oh, Lord. That was, it had the tentacles on and everything.
Yeah.
And we tried to be adventurous, but I was like, no, thank you.
Yeah. And then, what was the other thing I was going to tell you? Anyway, it was just an amazing place, and they have their own issues. It's easy to romanticize a place when you see it and you see all the good parts of it and all that kind of stuff. They have plenty of issues. All of Europe has issues in the same way that America does.
Yeah, and going through some of the same struggles that we
they're
are going
facing
through
some
culturally.
of the same conflicts and interest, conflicts and conversations that we are facing.
Yeah.
Especially when it comes to immigration and all that kind of stuff. But we did have to leave, about 2 or 3 days before the Pope showed up because the Pope and I can't be in the same country at the same time. It's a whole succession thing.
That's a good point.
It's a security issue.
Yes,
but,
it makes sense.
Anyway, so that was great. But
tell him real quick, and then we'll not talk anymore about Toledo. So 30 minutes outside of Madrid. We have to do this for our friend Elizabeth Hine. This is her secret happy place.
One of the things that they're really proud of in Spain, and especially in this town of Toledo, which is about an hour removed from Madrid, which we did a day trip to, also where we get Toledo, as in Toledo, Ohio.
Isn't that funny?
Had been settled by the Romans. It's up on a hill. They do have this little mountain ridge that goes through Spain, which is really beautiful. But up on this hill, tall space, the Romans had settled this really fortified city. It was the original capital of Spain.
Right.
And they're super proud of it because it's 2,500 years old, so 500 years older than Jesus, which is funny as we celebrate 250 years of
America. It's 2,500 years old.
So we are still definitely the teenagers on the block.
Yeah, it's hard to get your mind around that.
Yeah.
But it was the cobblestone streets and narrow.
Oh my gosh!
I mean,
Again,
just,
like a movie set. It's
except
just
for a huge city.
A lot of the streets were maybe only 8 to 10 feet wide.
Yeah.
Like you had to stand with your back against the wall to let cars go through.
Yes, nooks and crannies.
And it was amazing. And even on top of the rolling hills, and just 1,000 different little shops and 1,000 different little restaurants in this little
cafes.
city. And they were so proud of it because at one point had been settled and conquered by the Romans. Then the Moors and the Muslims came up and they took it over. And so there's mosque. You can really see it in the architecture in the city. Then the Jews came in. And they kind of took over, and then the Catholics came in
and killed everyone.
They killed everyone. But now they all kind of commingle.
They coexist.
And one of the things they're really proud of is the Catholics have a big university there and a huge cathedral, of course, there.
Yeah.
And they were building a new school in that spot with a new cathedral, and they had gone and approached the Muslims architects to help them build the building in the style
that it was originally
of the Muslims.
built in.
And so there's all the stained glass stuff that the Muslims typically do, and the window shapes and door shapes have that kind of circular top to them, the way that a lot of Muslim and a lot of mosque have.
Yeah.
And it was just such a cool thing that they literally are coexisting.
Yeah.
They literally are trying to
very purposefully coexisting. It was beautiful. One last thing about Toledo. It was amazing. There was a statue in one of the city plazas, and I was like, what is this? And then our little tour guide said, this is Cervantes. He's the author that wrote Don Quixote.
Yeah.
I mean, think about some of one of the most famous stories just in culture anywhere is Don Quixote and the Man of La Mancha, and that was it. And so we got a picture for my dad, who's a big fan by that statue, and then brought him some artwork. But
last thing about the country physically, the sky is huge, and I don't know if that's because it feels relatively flat, at least in the areas that we were in, but it's just an enormous sky. And in both cities there are tons of trees, tons of greenery everywhere, but it's a very arid place. So
there were no bugs.
We have found, I think, two flies the entire time we were there.
God bless Oklahoma. We love it, but they don't have any bugs.
And so pretty arid. And then they're closer to the equator. So when the sun comes up, sunrise, it is not a gradual thing. It is like a spotlight.
It's like 5:30 in the morning.
It's like a spotlight with a hairdryer. And it just, I keep referencing the NXS line, the sun came in a room like a god. And that's what it is. It comes on. There's nothing gradual. There's nothing mystical about it. It's just sunlight.
Yeah.
And it just hits you. And from that moment, you feel this heat on your skin, and it is intense and beautiful, but amazing. And then if you're in like the trees and the shade, at least for us, this was like the first couple of weeks of summer, so it's not as significant as it will be soon. But it was not overbearingly hot. It was plenty hot, but not bad. And then it stays light longer till like 10:30 or 11 o'clock.
At night.
Yeah.
I mean, really.
So, and
It's
your
like dusk at
body just
10:30.
instantly adjusts. Like you wake up, we were able to sleep in a little bit, but your body just says, well, it's still daylight. I'm going to stay up now.
Yeah.
And so
It
we
was
did.
interesting. And then, you hear about siesta. I think that must be some response to the sun pattern.
Yes.
But it's really true.
Right.
And people, it's a longer day for everyone. And so
Right.
everyone takes a break. The shops and the restaurants shut down. And in Barcelona, it was more like 2 to 4, 5.
Right.
And then in Madrid, it was a little bit later, like 4 to 6 or 7. And they hang out with their families. They recoup. One of the coolest things
You
for
eat
me
dinner
was...
at like 9.
Yeah.
Just crazy.
And so I remember when we were in Barcelona, one of the coolest nights we had is we just went into the neighborhood right behind our hotel to see kind of
Right.
what life was really like there. It was like 9 o'clock and there was just this, small cafe, a mom and pop as we would call it.
Right.
Everybody was out eating and then people just come out in the neighborhood and they walk. They call it the
Yes.
pasado. They visit with each other. They're together. They check in on one another and the streets are active at 9:30. We hide out in our houses in America a lot of times.
Yeah.
And it
Well,
was so
we're missing
interesting to see that.
We're missing the sidewalks we used to have in front of our homes.
Yeah.
That invited that kind of thing.
That's
And-
really true. Yeah. So anyway, that was the sweetest community thing.
Okay. So
Yes.
lessons from Spain.
Okay.
I want to say these two things about travel initially.
Mm-hmm.
One, underpacking is amazing.
Yes.
A lot of times you can just count when you get back from a trip how many things you did not use.
You usually
didn't
wear
have-
the same 3 or 4 things and you
Yeah.
just say, sorry, I'm going to be wearing
And in
this
our
again.
case, you can rent stuff, you can wash stuff. Every hotel had a clothes, dishwasher, a washer and dryer, and all
Right.
that kind of stuff. So you can do that, and
Do a
we
dance
just
around it
recycled
real
a lot
quick.
of stuff. But anyway, underpacking and packing light is a wonderful thing, and all the travel logs like Rick Steves, who's
Gotta
a
love
personal
Rick
hero,
Steves. He is.
suggest that if you can do a carry-on or a backpack or something like
Yeah.
that, by all means do it. Second of all, we think about things like going to Spain or going to Boston or going to Washington D.C. and we think, oh, that one of these days I
I
would
got
like
to
to.
go do this.
Our suggestion is do it.
Do it.
And do what we would call or what we have repeated as an instigating effort incident. So where you just pull the trigger, book something, book the hotel. This thing lived in our brains for a month or two, where you're just kind of in this in between. Like, I think we're going to do Spain.
Yeah, we got the dates worked out.
Are you going to do Spain? Are you not going to do Spain? Well, okay, so after a minute, we said, look, we're in the in between zone. We got to book something or get, as they would say, tinkle or get off the pot. So you gotta pull a trigger.
Yeah.
And so because we believed this is what we wanted to do, because we believed it was important, we had to pull the trigger on something. So we booked a hotel.
Yeah, and then we
booked another hotel, and we booked a tour, and then we booked some airfare. And but we did something that was instigating.
Yeah.
We did something that would be hard to walk back.
Yeah, you put some skin in the game. And
Right.
you're never going to think that you have enough money, like, oh, this is the time to go, blah, blah,
Right.
blah. There's always going to be some reason. And for us, this is honest. And maybe some of you guys struggle with this. We felt guilty. Like, our lives are good. And now we're going to go to Spain. Like, there's this, like, because you have other
Right.
family members that would love to do that, or other people that have always wanted to go. Well, and hopefully they'll save their money and
Right.
get a chance to go do that.
And these things are
there's
hard
always
for
a
us to
reason.
even talk about because
Yeah.
it seems or feels so extravagant. And that's what I
Yeah.
mean when I feel like it's almost like living somebody else's life. This
Yeah.
is not how we generally live.
No, but
we
it
had
was-
this chance. And so it's
Yeah.
part of it's our
And
personality.
we
but
took the chance.
we didn't tell a lot of people. We haven't told a lot of people about Spain because
Yeah.
it feels obscene in a sense. And because we're embarrassed of
Yeah.
our good fortune, which is a funny, I don't know, it must be an Irish part of it or something. I don't know. But
Right, our guilt complex.
yeah,
We feel
so-
guilty for getting to have gone.
But we did, and like you say, it's maybe the fact that we did it. What I walked away with was if we could pull this off,
Anybody
anybody
can.
could pull this off.
Yeah.
And it's much more doable and in a way even much more affordable than you think it is. And
Yeah.
there's packages and people you can go with and all that kind of stuff. But
And I mean, I would just want to encourage people. If a lot of people have a place that they've connected with, or a
Right.
culture,
Yeah.
it may even be a sports team. Maybe you've been
Yeah,
a lifelong
exactly.
Cubs fan, or you've never gotten to see the Green
Never
Bay
gone to
Packers
Arrowhead,
play.
yeah.
and you've
Right.
always thought someday I'm going to go. Just do it. There's
Yes.
something that makes the world feel full of possibility
Yeah.
when you do something like that. And you will
Right.
be so proud that you did it. There's always going to be a reason not to go. But I mean, man, I feel so fulfilled that we
Yes.
got to do that. I feel lucky.
I feel like we conquered something too. Like
Yes.
it was a dare and we did it.
Exactly. And so I just want to encourage people to
what's
do that.
something you took away from your Spain trip? What's a lesson you learned from Spain or a lesson you learned from travel or
I think the idea of just doing it and feeling the pride in that, you
Yeah.
know, it's something that I connected with in my mind and my soul. Like I was just saying, there's most people have something like that they've
Right.
been afraid to do, or they just think, oh no, I'm fine where I am. I'm grateful for what I have, and that's great. But that was it. Was like we conquered that. We did it. We saved our money. We made plans, and it feels like an accomplishment.
Right.
And there's also something that's incredible about seeing other parts of the world, even if it's just going to New York City, which is awesome.
Yeah,
I don't mean
right.
just, but to go see a Broadway show because you used to do musicals when you were in high school. There's something.
Or because you just want to know what that is. We talk about Broadway all the time. So
Exactly.
what's that like?
And
Yeah.
all of a sudden, the world, which seems like this huge place, it's simultaneously when you go to like Europe or something, you
Right.
feel like the world is smaller and larger.
Yes,
But
absolutely.
you just see other lifestyles.
Right.
You see and feel that people are the same.
Mm-hmm.
That even if people speak a different language and they live in apartments versus, houses or whatever, that we all share so much. And
Yes.
I feel like it just broadens your heart and soul.
Mm-hmm.
And it makes you more aware of the people around you and some of the things that they're struggling with. And in a weird way, it makes you appreciate when you come back home to what you have.
Right.
There's that aspect of it. So, just to feel like you there's a freedom in exploring something,
Yes.
whatever that is.
Yeah.
So that was
and
the big
it
thing for me.
certainly humanizes,
Yes.
other people, which is really great. You don't, I mean, when you have to know somebody from a distance, when you have to know somebody from afar, it's easy, as we say, to make them a one-dimensional character.
Yes.
But meeting people, seeing the way they love their kids, seeing the way they value their jobs, seeing, their media and their expression
Yes.
is,
And the way they came out to visit with their neighbors every
Right.
night. I mean, those things.
And in our
So
case,
good.
we felt, especially right now, I think, a lot of responsibility to represent well. Like
Yes.
we were cognizant and aware when we were in a place that, we are, in our case, the face of America. We are the
Yeah.
face of Oklahoma in this moment. I don't want to do anything that would throw shade on America.
Yeah.
I don't want to act presumptuous. I don't want,
Right.
so there was a heightened sense of awareness of the culture that we were being treated to and that was
Yes.
hosting us, and that,
So we
some
were
respect.
extra
and-
kind and
Yeah.
extra grateful. and
Exactly.
Extra complimentary.
And even though, like in Barcelona, they spoke a lot of English. I think that it felt like there was less English in Madrid.
Yeah.
And yet there's still so many ways to express gratitude, to
Yeah.
express joy, to be complimentary, to express
Yes.
love.
Learn
all
enough of
those
the
things.
language to be kind to people.
Well,
and-
there are gestures and things that you can do
Yes.
that are really important. And so the whole thing is that it's a lot more doable than you think it is. And
Yeah,
we used to joke about
definitely.
that. I know we've talked before about this baseball trip that your dad and I and two other guys did for about 15 years. And
the man trip.
that became a joke. Like we would get to a place and we're like, well, how are we going to find our way to Fenway? When we get off when we land in Logan Airport in Boston, how do we get to how are we going to get to our hotel?
Yeah.
I don't know. We'll figure it out. How are we going to get to Fenway? I don't know. And then that became the joke. Apparently, other people have tried to get there too. Other people have tried to get to
You'll figure
D.C.
it out.
Other people have tried to get to the Washington Monument besides us. So there'll
Yes.
be a way.
Yeah,
There'll
exactly.
be someone we can ask. There'll
Yeah.
be, So what feels impossible in a moment, or what feels like, I don't know, I can't see how to get there, I don't know what to do, there is a way.
Yeah.
And sometimes just showing up on the spot and then asking someone, they'll help you get there.
Yeah, exactly.
What do we have to do to get through customs? I've never been through. Do we have to go through customs here and there? Well, go and find out.
Yeah.
They'll
You'll
walk
be
you through.
okay.
There are people who do this every single day.
One funny cultural moment. Of course, we're traveling with our 14-year-old, so
Mm-hmm.
we're very embarrassing right now. But anyway, we'd had an especially good connection with one of the tour guides or whatever. Oh, it was at the Sagrada Familia.
Yes.
And it was a moving experience. Of course,
Oh, it
she
was.
does this all the time.
Yeah.
But anyway, and we asked if we could get a picture, and we did. And then as we were leaving, and this was early on in the trip.
Yes.
So I'm still in my normal mode, right? I tried to reach in for a hug, and she was kind of a no-go on that. And so I was like, when you go up for a high five and you're like, oh, I wasn't really going to hug you. I was just, and then Evangeline goes, they're not huggers, Mom. It was so funny.
You know what they do, though?
Okay.
What is?
Well, I don't know. If you live in Spain and you're probably huggers with your friends, I'm just some white person there. So she goes, they don't want to hug you, Mom. Okay.
One of the things that we noticed a lot of, which was very sweet, is that people walk arm in arm a lot.
Yes, they were affectionate
dads
with
and
each
sons, friends, guy friends, girlfriends.
Really sweet.
If an adult was with their older parent, so they walk arm in arm and that way very affectionate.
Yes.
And I thought that's so refreshing.
It was so sweet. And I think one of my biggest impressions about Spain, and we did get to see 4 different cities. So obviously we weren't over the whole country, but was they're very considerate of one another. And no one was talking loudly on a cell phone up in your business. No. Nobody was pushing you out of the way, even though they could be resentful toward tourists that are there. This is just their neighborhoods. But I felt like everybody was very accepting, and they live courteously with one another. On the tram and the subway, there's actually signs that says, please offer your seat to elderly or pregnant women, and so it was expected.
And they did. I mean, they jumped up. It was really fun.
It was really sweet. So I felt like there was in America, and we have an amazing country. Part of what makes us such a great country is that we value freedom and independence and entrepreneurship, all the things that have made our lives so good here.
Right.
But we can tend to be self-focused and talk loud on people with cell phones and boss people around and only say, well, by God, this is my way or the highway. Well, it just didn't seem like that.
No.
I mean, they were peacefully coexisting with one another. And that was super refreshing.
It really
Did you find that to be true?
Yeah, I did. And I just found that, again, it was just the whole thing. Like, it was more chill.
Yes, more quiet.
The sound of the city was very relaxed. Even when we got to really largely populated areas. We went to a flea market, which was densely populated.
Well, fancy flea market.
And we went to big markets and all that kind of stuff. And one of our favorite things, we had seen this before we left on a couple different websites and television shows and stuff, that they would have these kind of in different plazas. Yeah. They would have these giant markets, maybe a city block big, in size and everything. And they would just be within that, just maybe 40 different food vendors. Yeah. And some of them were higher scale than others, but they were amazing. And you could get everything you could walk around eating octopus if you wanted to, or,
swordfish.
They had fish laying on the ice still looking at you and stuff like that. They had jamon. They had all kinds of fried things, and
it was neat
olives and
to
cheese
eat in the
and
little bits. I feel like they eat more often but smaller amounts. But even that was such a cool cultural experience because you're in this huge place.
Tons of tapas places.
Yeah, all these different places. It felt different. It felt different than our culture in some good ways.
Yes.
One of the things I thought was interesting, though, and we both observed this because we love to, when we travel normally, we love to, you end up making friends in the restaurant or wherever you are, and you're chatting with people. And we had some Spanish. I had the most Spanish.
Yes,
but you think you know Spanish until you start speaking.
Spanish.
And then they take off on a conversation. You're like, ooh, boy.
Yeah.
And so, but they were so kind about it.
The worst thing you could do is venture out a Spanish word and they think you can speak it.
I know just enough to be dangerous. I could say something like, how is your country faring right now? And then, oh, wow. And then, opening question. But the thing is, we did miss connecting with people because with the language on the level that we normally do.
Right.
We were
lots of
only talking with the 3 of us. Right. I'm sure our daughter was super sick of us by the time we got home. But so so getting home, it's like, oh, I can visit with people.
Yeah.
And
the intimacy, the depth of that intimacy was a little different.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
I mean, it was definitely
there
worth
were, especially in Madrid, just tons and tons of obviously tourists and visitors. So you could hear it, people from Germany or people from England or people from
It was cool meeting people from Britain because we
Asia.
spoke English and we could chat with them. But we did miss people. I mean, and when we got home, our lifestyle here is also beautiful.
Right.
I mean, gosh.
Well, and a lot of times when we take a trip, we have a kind of re-entry period that is difficult for us.
A little bit of culture shock.
It might take us 3 or 4 days to go out and see a lot of people. But in this case, even though we'd had an amazing time,
Yeah.
we were not shell-shocked when we came home. It was easy to get back and see people that we'd missed in our home and all that stuff. And
it was so neat.
It was funny, speaking of the language, Evangeline and I were joking. I said, as we were heading home, we'd spent, 11 days saying, sí, or gracias.
Yes.
And I said to Evangeline, I said, man, we're going to have to break that on the way home, because that's the giveaway. When you get home and you just start, you come home with the accent, or you come home Barcelona.
Yeah, that's right.
Gracias.
Sí.
That's the stuff that makes people hate you.
It's true. So true.
And so I said, we're going to have to wean ourselves off of saying this stuff.
I love it.
But, yeah.
I think the thing the reason we decided to talk about this today was just because we want to encourage people to be brave.
Yes.
And just to go experience some life, man. Mm-hmm. It makes the world seem smaller and more beautiful.
In a good way, yeah.
Smaller and more connected.
Yes.
It opens your horizons, and it makes you appreciate what you have back home. I mean, it's beautiful. And even if, listen, there were times where we couldn't afford to go to Dewey.
Right.
I mean, 20 years ago. So we get it. And people would go to Europe, and we'd do the internal eye roll.
Right.
My favorite.
We didn't push it on social media and all that stuff.
No. We're chill about it. Nobody knows except for our podcast listeners now that we even went. But people would. This was always my favorite, because I've always wanted to go to Spain, and you want to see Ireland, so maybe that's next. But people would say to us, this cracked me up like 20 years ago after we'd started our company, we were still ultra broke. You guys you've got to do Europe.
You have to get to Spain. You have to go to
Europe. And you want to be like, bro, no kidding. It takes money.
Yeah. You guys just need to do a cruise around the world. That's all. You just have to get to Greece.
You've got to do it. I'm like, are these people independently wealthy? But anyway, if you have that little dream in your heart, start saving.
There's got to be something even within your price. There's something within your price range that you can do that would feel
different,
like a dare.
And go to museums.
If that's getting to DC, if that's getting to Kansas City, if that's getting to Denver, Dallas, whatever it is, there's museums in all those places.
Yeah.
There's athletics in all those places, or concerts in all those places.
That's right.
Just go do something.
It will do your heart good.
And then you can throw things out like, yes. Last week when I was in Barcelona, or earlier in the month when I was in Madrid.
Yes, Barcelona. I know. I'm still looking for a Madrid T-shirt.
I know.
It was funny. You don't see a lot of music, or there's actually live music, but not music coming out of the store. Some of the things that we're used to in America. Right. Another thing is, in America, if we do something, we have to have the T-shirt. Been there, done there, got the T-shirt. Right. I was just trying to find a simple T-shirt that said Madrid on it, and I couldn't find one anywhere. And I got home and looked, and they have some on Amazon. So I have to order it, which is ironic.
You could send it back, and maybe someone will bless it in Madrid.
Send it back to you. A blessing from Spain. Maybe the Pope, now that he's back home. Do you think he would bless my
I've
Spain
got to
T-shirt?
watch where he is, because we have to be in those separate locations.
I know. It's interesting.
Speaking of separate locations, I'm really hoping that you will be in the same location with us this Friday at the Dreamers Live event on June 19th. We can't wait to see you there. We're so excited about getting together. We'll talk a little bit about this. Rest in peace. Rest assured.
Yes,
we will not be.
Rest in power.
We will not be talking about
Spain the whole time.
No. Like that. This was our chance. This was our time. But we will be having a great time. It'll be a lot of fun, and we hope to see your faces there. And then we'll be back. Make sure you sign up for the Dreamery. Just message us with your email address, and we'll add you to that list. And then also go to the Facebooks, search Mixed Up Mystics, and join that page, and you'll get all kinds of little feedback stuff and special notices about that. It's really low key. It just ends up in your feed and all that kind of stuff. And so that's that.
That's it. It's been great. Thank you for tolerating us, guys, on the Spain talk. And thank you for making it possible and working with me to get there.
So thrilled that we got to do that together.
It was awesome.
We're richer because of it. All right, friends, until next time, go do the good you can do, and peace out.
See ya.
Thanks for listening. Please like, subscribe, and share this episode. And remember, continue this conversation with someone you know. This is Pioneer Dream.